Welcome to the Bold and Determined Podcast with your man Victor Pride. And right here on the Podcast for Winners, we're bringing you motivation and mindset for the killers and real dealers, the makers and the takers, the winners and the grinners, and goddamn, even the sinners too. Let's get started. Well, hello, my friendly friends. Welcome back to another edition of the Bold and Determined Podcast with your man, Victor Pride. Yesterday, I was walking down the street. I was walking to a new supermarket to check out their beef selection. And I tell you what, I'm in beef heaven here. I buy too much damn beef. My freezer is full of beef now. I doubt I'm going to be able to eat it all. That's neither here nor there. The point is, I was walking to a new supermarket yesterday, and I was in an area where there were not a lot of taxis, so I could not help but stop and look at the sky often, because here where I am, the sky is blue every day. There's no chemicals in the sky. I see a natural sky all the time, and it's such a vibrant, incredible blue. And I'm taken back to all the times that I didn't see the sky for the past, goodness gracious, who knows how many years, when I never saw the real sky. And I'm taken back to last year when I was spending time in North Texas. And every morning when I would leave to go to the coffee shop, I would leave at about 6 a.m. And every single morning, I would see airplanes in the sky shooting chemtrails into the sky. No other way to say it. Polluting the sky with chemicals. What are they spraying? I don't know. That's not the point. The point is, every morning when I would go out, I would see them spraying chemicals into the sky, and they would do this non-stop. The sky would be so hideous, but it wasn't until 2018 that I finally saw it, that I finally noticed it, that I could finally see what they're doing. They're spraying chemicals into the sky. Clearly and obviously, they're not hiding it at all. Airplanes every morning would leave at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. every morning and just spraying chemicals into the sky. And so the sky became hidden behind these nasty chem clouds or chemtrails, whatever they were. What they are is not the point of the story. The point of the story is that they are spraying something into the sky. And when I think back at all the places I lived in America in the past 10 years, North Texas, California, New Mexico, they were spraying chemtrails everywhere. And damn, I didn't even notice it until 2018, when my eyes were finally open for the first time, when my mind was finally clear from no longer eating carbohydrates. I could finally see what they were doing. But the thing that shocked me is that when I would point it out to other people, they couldn't see it. I would point to the planes in the sky, leaving chemtrails that lasted in the sky all day long, and they wouldn't see them. The people I would point them out to did not see them. They said, there's no chemtrails. There's nothing in the sky. That's normal. Those are normal clouds. And I tell you what, friends, I took a picture of what a normal sky looks like. I'll post it in this article. And I'll post a picture I took in New Mexico of a chemical sky, of chemtrails in the sky. You can look and see what a normal sky looks like, and you can see what a chemical sky looks like. And I was like everybody else. I was just like everybody else in the past. I didn't notice these things in the sky. Even though they were right there, spraying chemicals every damn day, I didn't notice them. But now I do. When I see them, I do. They can't be ignored. They're doing it so much. So much. Well, I say they can't be ignored, but that's not true. They can be ignored, and they are ignored. And I think I figured out why. In 1947, a man named George Orwell wrote a book called 1984. The book was released in 1948. They just flipped the numbers to call the book 1984. And the crux of the book is this. It is a dystopian future where the government is in full charge of everybody, and they're not allowed to even think anything that the party does not want them to think. It's thought crime if you think something bad. And the way that they speak is called newspeak, which basically takes away all of the natural methods of speech and communication so that they barely have any ways to communicate. Basically, it dumbs them down and makes them all think in the exact same way. And at the end of the book, the hero of the book was named Winston. He's being tortured by a government agent. And what the agent wants from Winston is for Winston to admit that 2 plus 2 equals 5. That's what they want from him. They want him to admit, before they kill him, they're going to torture him until he admits 2 plus 2 equals 5. And they don't just want him to say 2 plus 2 equals 5. Because if you just say 2 plus 2 equals 5, you might not mean it. No. What they want him to believe that 2 plus 2 equals 5. Why do they want him to believe 2 plus 2 equals 5? Because the party said so. Because the government said so. because everybody else said so. Now sometimes 2 plus 2 equals 4, but sometimes 2 plus 2 can also equal 5. And before they let him be, in peace, before they kill him, before they let him go, they want him to see that in fact 2 plus 2 does equal 5, if they say so. So they want him to believe something that is not reality. They want to take away his reality and replace it with what they say. And guess what happens at the end of the book? Winston finally sees, like everybody else, that 2 plus 2 equals 5. And then they let him be. So when I'm looking up at the sky, and I'm seeing a beautiful blue sky with no chemical clouds anywhere, and I'm thinking back to all the people I pointed the chemtrails out to in America who said, no, there are no chemtrails up there. That's normal. That's what the sky looks like. I've realized now that they believe that there are no chemicals in the sky, even though you can see the planes leaving the chemicals in the sky all morning long, and the chemicals in the sky last there all day long. Even though you can see that with your own eyes, they don't believe it. To them, 2 plus 2 equals 5. There are no chemtrails in the sky because the party in charge did not tell them that they are spraying chemicals in the sky. Even though they can see them with their own eyes, that does not matter. They did not get permission to believe that there are chemicals in the sky. Therefore, they don't even see the chemicals in the sky. They don't even notice them. When I point them right out to them, say, look at those planes spraying chemicals in the sky, right there. They say, no, there's no plane spraying chemicals in the sky. That's normal. In the book 1984, they had to torture Winston to get him to admit that 2 plus 2 equals 5. And it's really super obvious that the same thing has happened to the people of the West. They've been psychologically tortured to admit there is nothing in the sky, even though it's right there. Not only that, they've been tortured so long, psychologically tortured, so long that they admit anything the party wants them to say. Whether it be about multiculturalism, which is a totally fake cause. Whether it be about gay marriage, which is a totally fake cause. Whether it be about white supremacy, which is totally fake. And as we'll learn, nearly everything they talk about is totally fake. I've put the pieces together, and the short answer is this. They just tell you a bunch of lies. That's it. They tell you a bunch of lies. In fact, everything they tell you is a lie. When they tell the women they need to be independent, get a good job, get a good education, get abortions, they don't tell you that to empower you. They tell you that to defeminize you. At the same time they defeminize the women, they emasculate the men. This creates a divide between the people who should be united. Men and women are united in nature, and they care for each other in nature. The women do the female part, and the men do the male part. And everybody takes care of each other. This is our natural way. As a people, as a society, as a culture, the men and women must be combined and have unity to have a strong culture. But if you divide the women from the men, if you put a wedge between the women and the men, where does that leave the women to turn to? I'll tell you where. When you take away their trust in men, when you take away their faith in men, when you plant seeds of destruction in their brains and call it empowerment, but it is destruction. When you plant these seeds of destruction in the brain, you cause a destruction in the person. This is psychological torture. Females of the West just don't realize it yet. It's psychological torture, and it divides you from all of your natural instincts. It puts a barrier between you and your natural power. It doesn't empower you. It disempowers you. And because you're disempowered, because you have nothing real, what is left? There are only two things left. Number one, now, as a empowered woman, you can no longer rely on the menfolk. You cannot rely on your husband or your father or your brothers or your cousins to protect you. Who do you have to rely on you now? Well, in the book 1984, it was called Big Brother, which means the government. So now the people who naturally love you, respect you, and take care of you, you think of them as your oppressors, and you run to the government to be your protector. But you see, they always lie to you, and things are just backwards. It is the government entities that are your oppressor, and the men who are here to help you, protect you, and save you. But they've got you to admit 2 plus 2 equals 5. That your men, the men who have protected you for centuries, are now the enemy, and the people who are creating havoc on your mind. Big Brother, they're your real protectors. They're your real saviors. And wouldn't you know it, when there's a wedge between you and all the people in your family, when there's a wedge between you and the men, what do you do then? What's left for you? I'll tell you what's left for you. Shopping, consuming, buying stuff. That's what's left when they take away the family from you. When you take away your femininity, when they defeminize you and emasculate the men, what's left? You've got to buy a new identity. You become a great shopper. You become a great consumer. When you've got nothing in the real world, the only thing that you have is what you can buy. So you see, friends, the real reason the government wants you to admit 2 + 2 = 5. It's all about the bucks. It's all about the money. It always has been. It's not about some pact with Satan. It's not about doing a deal with the devil. It's about money. It always has been, and it always will be. They drive divides between you and your family so that you have nowhere to turn. You have no rock to lean on, no family to support, no family to be supported by. What's left? Shopping and government control. This is mental warfare, and the reason I talk about it is because my own family has been devastated by it, and I didn't see it before. I was too busy before. I was too busy working on my own thing. I got lost in my own world. I got lost in building my own business for years and years and years. For years and years and years, you couldn't talk to me like a real person. I wouldn't hear it. I wouldn't listen to it. I wouldn't see it. I was busy doing my own thing. But when I got out of that, when I finally opened my eyes, when I got to the end of building my business and realized what I had left behind, which is family, when I realized what had happened, I went back. I went back to see the family. I tried to build a real family. And you know what I found? They thought 2 + 2 = 5. So I know that a lot of the listeners of the B&D podcast, you'd rather hear about strategies to build your business, strategies to build your body, all that kind of stuff. Everything that Bold and Determined is famous for. I know you'd rather hear that, but it's important that you hear the truth. It's important that you hear about reality. Now, if you want to build a business or build a body, the basics are always available for free at Bold and Determined. You can always go back and read them. There is enough content in the archives of Bold and Determined that anybody who wants to make something of himself can do it with the knowledge I have already given you. Now, the journey must continue to help rebuild our broken people. And I tell you what, of what use is making all that money if all it can do is buy stuff for you? If all you can do is buy stuff because the family has been destroyed, completely destroyed, what use is all that money? Now, I'm not saying don't make money. I am saying there are far more important things in this life. And one of those things is having unity with your blood, with your family, with the people around you, not fighting with these people. They've got you fighting with your own family and supporting the destroyers. This is called Stockholm Syndrome, and everybody in the West is suffering from it. Stockholm Syndrome, when you identify with your captor more than you identify with your own people. And they play this game on everybody. Nobody is safe from it. This is not just a game that they're playing on white people. We've talked about white genocide, the plan to kill white people. We've talked about the plan to overrun white countries with third world immigrants. It's not because they love third world immigrants. They want to drive a divide between everybody. And to do that, they tell lies about everybody. They tell women that men kept them down. Well, listen here, lady. Go take a drive somewhere. Drive anywhere. Drive to the supermarket. Drive to your local Starbucks. And take note of how many men are keeping you down. It's 0. It has always been 0. It will always be 0. Men and women always work in harmony together, unless there is an outside influence creating havoc on their minds. So you see, the only place that men oppress you is in your mind, because that thought has been implanted in your mind by the agencies that want you to think 2 + 2 = 5. They want to create fear in you. So you hear about rape culture. Listen here. There's no such thing as rape culture. It doesn't exist. It has never existed. In any country in the world, it doesn't exist. Unless that country is war-torn by the powers that be. Wars are all started by governments. There are no people anywhere in the world sitting around thinking, hey, we should go invade another country. The governments, the intelligence agencies, the military intelligence, the industrialists, the bankers. These are all the same people. All the same people. They make money by creating war. Whether it is a real war with guns or it is a real war on your mind, they make money by creating war. They are warmongers. Your average everyday people around you in real life are not warmongers. They're not your enemy. Your enemy is the one who is creating war on you. And the biggest war is a war of deception. They're not coming to kill you with bullets like they go and they kill the Muslims. They're killing you emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. Sun Tzu told us thousands of years ago, deception is the art of war. And that's how they get you. They deceive you. How do they deceive you? They deceive you by telling lies. They tell lies to you. And because we are a trusting people, we believe them. Because generally we don't tell lies. Therefore, we don't believe other people are telling lies. But I promise you, these people are telling you lies. Deception is the art of war. When they tell you 2 + 2 = 5, they're lying to you. When they tell you there are no chemtrails in the sky, they're lying to you. When they tell you men are your enemy and your oppressor, they're lying to you. When they tell you you shouldn't have children because there are too many people in the world, they're lying to you. When they tell you you shouldn't have children because you don't make enough money, they're lying to you. And when you believe these lies, it creates something in your brain called cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance drives you to take medicine, psychological medicine, like Xanax or SSRIs. All of these medicines that mess with your brain. You know why your brain craves these medicines? And most people in America are on some form of psychological medicine, especially women. The biggest victim of this entire tragedy has been the women. Most of the women in the United States are extremely depressed, extremely psychologically unbalanced. And most of them are on psychological medication because you've had war created on your mind. Men aren't doing too great either. Men have also been a casualty in this war. And that's why I'm here to tell you, everything they tell you, it's just a lie. That's all it is. It's just a lie. All of these people we see on television, all of these people we see on the news, they're actors. All of them. The real powers of this world don't go on television. You know who goes on television? Actors go on television. I'll tell you what else. Your president, Donald J. Trump, is an actor playing a part, not a real president. I can prove it to you, and I bet 95% still will not believe me. I will prove to you that Donald Trump is an actor playing a part, and most will still not believe me. Most will still have cognitive dissonance. I'll prove to you that he's an actor, and you'll probably still believe that he's not an actor. You'll still believe 2 + 2 = 5. Let me prove it to you. Donald J. Trump is not a real president. He's an actor. How do I know that? Well, what did he do before he was president of the United States? Here's what he did. He was on a television show called The Apprentice. Let me ask you this question. Who stars in television shows? Actors. Therefore, Donald Trump is an actor. I know what you're saying. He's not an actor. No, there's no way he's an actor. Yeah, he's on a television show. That doesn't make him an actor. Who's on television shows? Actors. But no, not Donald Trump. He was on a reality television show. A reality television show. Okay, so he was on a reality television show. That makes him not an actor. Ask yourself this question. How long have you been alive? 20 years? 30 years? 40 years? Every day of your life that you've been alive, you have lived in reality. Have you ever worked a job? Do you still work a job? Think about your job or your past jobs. How many of the jobs you worked in your 20 years or 30 years of reality, how many of those jobs were like The Apprentice, the television show that Donald J. Trump starred in? Oh, none of the jobs you ever had in your life were anything like The Apprentice, the so-called reality television. So if your reality that you experienced every day for the past 30 years was absolutely nothing like the reality television you see on television, why do you believe that that's reality? I'll tell you why you believe it. Because they told you it's reality. And just like they tell you 2 + 2 = 5, you believe that reality television, which is an oxymoron, you believe that reality television is reality and not television. Well, listen here, friend. It doesn't work like that. Nothing goes on television without a purpose. Nothing goes on television without it being controlled. Nobody goes on television without being an actor, playing a part. Is your real job like The Apprentice, or is it far more boring? Correct. Your real job is nothing like the so-called reality television that your president starred in. So your president, Donald Trump, by very definition, is an actor. He starred in a television show before he became the president of the United States. I'm going to have a harder time convincing people of that than I am convincing people there are chemicals in the sky. Because people today, they think 2 + 2 = 5. And until the televisions and the news stations tell them to believe something else, they're going to continue to believe that 2 + 2 = 5, there's nothing in the sky, Donald J. Trump is not an actor. Now, I'll tell you what, friends, there are two different kinds of television shows or plays. There are television shows that they don't pretend are real. Television shows like Seinfeld, Friends, How I Met Your Mother. Nobody pretends those are real. Then there are other television shows that they pretend are real. These television shows are called the news, reality television, courtroom television. All of this is scripted and played by actors. It has all been a lie. That's it. It has all been a lie. There's no way on earth they put the people who actually make the decisions on television. Everything has been a lie. It has been a virtual reality, a fake television world that we've all bought. We've all thought it was real when none of it was real. And we've been afraid. We've been scared to speak out and speak the truth because we thought all of this stuff was real. We've been scared to say that we don't want our countries flooded with immigrants because we thought other people did. Listen here. Nobody wants the countries flooded with immigrants. Nobody does. You only see that they do on the news, on the television. And the people you see on television pretending to be leftist liberals are not. They're just actors playing a part. All people involved in this are hardcore right-wing fascists. All of them. They're just playing a part to divide and to conquer. Their motto is out of chaos comes order. But they have to create the chaos so that they can rule us. Because they know that humans are so stupid. They'll believe anything they're told. And they'll do nothing. If they're told that most people want unchecked immigration, then they'll go along with that. Just like they'll say 2 + 2 = 5 and there's nothing in the sky. But it's not true. None of it has ever been true. It has simply been a war on the minds of our people. But like I said, it leaves people in fear. And that's what they want. They want you in fear. In fear because when you are scared of not just the Muslims and the blacks and the Mexicans, when you're scared of your own men, where can you turn? You can only turn to the government. When you are in a state of fear, and turn on the news, what are they peddling you? What are they selling you? Fear, 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 fear. You're not just scared of the Muslim terrorists, you're scared of the white nationalist terrorists. Well, guess what? There are no white nationalist terrorists. There are no white supremacists. How long have you been alive in this world? 20 years, 30 years, 40 years? How many white supremacists have you ever met in your life? 0. You know why? They don't exist. The only ones that do exist are creations of intelligence, like CIA. They're plants. And I'll tell you something else. There are no Muslim terrorists either. The only Muslim terrorists you see are on television. And they were created by the same intelligence communities to keep you in a state of fear. Muslims are not sitting over there in Iraq, in Pakistan, thinking up ways to blow up America. They're thinking about, how can I make enough money to feed my family today? Everybody in the world feels the exact same. Everybody wants to take care of their family, make enough money to eat food, and make enough money to have a nice life for their children. Everybody in the world wants that. Everybody in the world wants the same thing. There are no Muslim terrorists. There are no white supremacists. It has all been a farce. It has all been a lie. It has all been a joke. Ha ha. Joke's on us. You got us. Good one. But let's move forward and let's move on. But they leave you in a state of fear. Fear that the Muslims are going to come and kill you. Listen, the Muslims did not commit the atrocities on 9/11. The Muslims did not burn down the cathedral at Notre Dame. The same people I'm talking about create all of this. They create every act of terror comes from the same people to keep you in a state of fear. People in a state of fear are great consumers and they obey. The more you are in fear of your life, the more you are happily willing to give away your rights and your personal freedoms. Did you not notice that with every act of so-called terrorism, more of your freedoms are taken away, and you're happy to give them away because you think somewhere in a cave somewhere, some guy who just wants to feed his family wants to blow you up. Strange, where did those people get weapons training? Where did they get weapons? Ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself why in your life you've never met a Muslim terrorist. You've never met a white supremacist. You've never met a member of the KKK. Yet you're deathly afraid of these people. Ask yourself, why? And I'll tell you why. It was all created. It was all a television drama for you to create fear in you. All of it has been a lie. And when you are afraid, you don't speak out, do you? You don't say no. You say, yeah, go ahead and take more of our rights away. Just keep us safe like you've been doing. Did you not notice that the terror attacks are ramping up? There's seemingly 1 or 2 every single month. It's starting to wear off. We're starting to not care. We're starting to not believe it. And in fact, we should have never believed it because every instance of terror has been a television drama to make you afraid so that you rely more on the government, you give more of your rights away, you buy more stuff, you become a better consumer and a better livestock. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, but don't say anything like that because they'll come and they'll get you. They'll come and they'll get you. No, they won't. You know why? All they have to do is put a story in the news saying they got me or saying they got somebody else, and people will believe it. They don't have to do anything. All they have to do is say they did something. That's all they have to do. All they have to do is lie to you. They don't have to go kill anybody. They don't have to go suicide anybody. They just have to say that it happened. That's all they have to do. And I'll give you an example. There was a guy called Bill Cooper. Bill Cooper was the original conspiracy theorist. He wrote a book called Behold the Pale Horse, where he gave away the secrets of the government. He gave away the conspiracy. He said things are not what they are. He gave away a lot of real information mixed with a lot of false information, like that they're going to plan a fake alien invasion. And what happened to Bill Cooper? Bill Cooper predicted 9/11. Bill Cooper predicted 9/11. And then 2 months later, they went to his house. They shot him and they killed him. The police in Arizona, they went there in a sting operation. They were dressed like hobos. They were playing loud music outside of his property. When he went outside to check and see what was going on, a firefight ensued. He shot a couple coppers, and the cops shot him and they killed him. The original conspiracy theorist, Bill Cooper, real name Milton William Cooper. They shot him and they killed him in Arizona. The original conspiracy theorist. Ooh, scary story. Scary story. That means if you tell the truth, they're going to come and they're going to kill you. Right? Well, what have I said? It has all been theater. And I'll tell you how I know this. Arizona, they published their death records online. Any death that happened in the past 75 years in the state of Arizona is available online. You can look at the death records online. They killed Bill Cooper in 2001 in Arizona. But guess what you can't find on the death records available for the state of Arizona for the past 75 years? Guess what you cannot find? You cannot find a death certificate for a Milton William Cooper. That's strange. Maybe he went by a different name on his birth and death certificate. Well, let's look up William Cooper. Nope. Again, no deaths of William Cooper in 2001. In fact, the last death of a William Cooper in Arizona was in the 1940s. What does that mean? It means they did not kill the person bringing you truth. They just lied to you yet again. And what happens when they tell you that they killed somebody? They told you that the coppers, the police, they came to his house. They shot him to death. And he was the original conspiracy theorist. What does that make you feel? It makes you feel fear for the truth. But guess what? He was an actor like all of the rest of them. He was a plant like all of the rest of them. And it should have been obvious because he worked in military intelligence, naval intelligence, where most of these people come from. Military families, military intelligence. The whole thing was a joke. They always control two parts of the story. They control the news, the mainstream narrative. They also control the conspiracy narrative. You know why they don't crack down on conspiracies on YouTube? Because they're all fake. They're all fake. All of the conspiracy nuts, like the original Bill Cooper, who never died in Arizona, like Alex Jones, like David Icke, they're all actors, playing a part. They got me good with Alex Jones. They got me good. When they banned him from iTunes, YouTube, everywhere else, I thought, okay, well, if they ban him, he must have something to say. But we have to be smarter than that. Alex Jones admits he comes from a military family. He comes from an intelligence family. He flat out admits that he's CIA. And what does Alex Jones sell? He sells fear. What do you feel when you listen to Alex Jones? Fear. Fear and confusion. What happens when you listen to David Icke? Confusion. Fear and confusion. They get you so confused with these fake conspiracy theories that you can't tell what's true and what's fake. They get you so confused that you can't look up at the sky and realize it's not a real sky. I'll show you a picture of a real sky, and I'll show you a picture of their fake sky. They've got you so confused you don't even know what's real and what's fake. Anybody who gives you confusion, anybody who leaves you confused after you listen to them is a fake, is a phony, is a plant, is an actor. Any of these guys like David Icke, Alex Jones, anybody who leaves you more confused than before is simply lying to you. They're playing a part. They control all of this. All we have to do is just stop watching it. Stop paying attention to it. What we have to do as a people, what we have to do, we, you and I, nobody else, you and I, we, us, our families, we have to rebuild our communities. We have to no longer rely on this fakery. We have to no longer rely on these outside sources because all they give you, fear, confusion, deception. It is mental warfare. Sun Tzu in The Art of War told us, deception is the art of war. We have been in a battle that we did not even know about. Some people will ask me, Victor, do you think 1984 is on the way? Do you think it's going to happen? No, I don't. You know why? It's already here. It's already happening. It has been happening since the book was written in 1947. We're just too stupid to see it. And we're not stupid because we have low IQ. We're stupid because we have been purposely dumbed down and sold confusion and given confusion. But where does the confusion come from? It always comes from the same sources. Television, the news. It comes from the virtual reality. Because people see it in the virtual reality, they think it's real reality. They think it's true. They think everybody believes it if they saw it on the news. Even though nobody believes it. Nobody believes it. Nobody believes that men are women. Nobody does. Nobody. You just see actors on the news saying that. So that makes you think that other people actually do believe that. So then you keep your mouth shut. And then you start to think that 2 + 2 = 5. So you see, there's no problem bringing the truth to you. There's no problem bringing the truth to you for the very simple reason that 99% of the people are never even going to see the truth right in front of their face. 99% of the people are doomed because they refuse to open their eyes. They refuse to see what's right in front of their face. They refuse to look at the sky and see that there are chemtrails in the sky. They're right there in the sky. All you gotta do is look. So there's nothing to be afraid of, is my point. They're not going around killing people. They just say that they do. That's it. The threat, the fear, is enough to keep people in line. So people are free to say whatever they want to say. You are free to say anything you want to say. You are free to speak the truth at all times, and they're not going to come and get you. They're just going to plant some stories in the news to make other people think that it's wrong. That's it. That's all they have to do. They don't have to be physically violent. They've learned the art of mental warfare. That's it. Everything they say is a lie, but people believe it anyways. The newspapers say 2 plus 2 equals 5. Men are women. Men oppress women at the same time as being women. And people don't believe it, but then they develop Stockholm Syndrome, and they start to believe it. They're psychologically tortured so much that they start to believe 2 plus 2 equals 5, just like Winston. Oh, holy moly. I just wanted to tell you about the damn chemtrails and the clean sky. Took a real big detour there. What do you say we answer some questions finally, huh? At the end of the last episode, Peter asked, do you think these so-called superpowers that NoFap community claims are real? I was on my 3rd day of NoFap and felt some of the benefits so far, such as having more drive to pursue my goals and dreams. I also started my 3rd day with literally no faps in between when doing my online business throughout the day, but still skeptical as this might have something to do with a placebo effect. Does masturbation really take that much energy out of you? Yes, it does. And NoFap means no masturbation. It means when you stop masturbating, you become like a Superman. And the superpowers that the NoFappers claim is a reality. Why do you think you have so much free pornos? Why do you think you have so much free porn? Porn costs money to produce. It costs money to produce. It's not free to produce. People don't go and fuck on camera for free. They do it for money. Cameras are not free. Editors are not free. Sound and lighting is not free. It costs a lot of money. Yet you have endless supplies of free porno. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Could it be, possibly, they don't want you to be strong? Could it be they don't want you to be vigorous and natural? Could it be that they want you weak, confused, emasculated, in fear, and a good little buyer, a good little consumer? Of course that's what they want. That's why they give you so much porno for free. Listen, we all know who's behind the porno industry. We all know who controls and runs the porno industry. And when these people give you something for free, say no thanks. These are the people who will steal a nickel from their own mother, yet they're giving you so much porno for free. That's got to be the first red flag that you don't want it. What is the art of war? Deception is the art of war. They pretend like this stuff is good and liberating for you. But then what happens? You jerk off to this porno and all of your vitality, your vigorous energy goes away. All of your superpowers go away when you jerk off. All of them, they just go away. You become weak, docile, stupid, pathetic when you jerk off. But when you don't jerk off, you are strong. You have vitality. You are vigorous. You have energy. You have mental strength, mental clarity. All of these superpowers are true. And that's exactly why they give you so much free porno. They don't want you to have good energy. They want you to be docile, like cattle. That's why they give you free pornos. Endless free porno. How could they give you endless free porno that costs so much money to produce? How could the people who steal everything from you give you something for free and you think, oh, that's great. Thanks for the free porn. I'm so empowered now. Jerking off is pathetic. It's pathetic. It makes you become pathetic. And think about this. When you create a life, when you create a child, what do you create it with? Create it with your sperm, your semen. Where does semen come from? It comes from your blood and your bone marrow. In sperm and in semen is everything that it takes to create a new life. That is a new life. It comes from the best blood, the best bone marrow of your body so that you can create a new healthy life. And every time you release this just by jerking off on your computer, you are losing a part of yourself. You are losing a part of your vitality. You are losing a part of your soul. What the hell do you think sperm is? What the hell do you think semen is? Where do you think it's created? From your blood, your bone marrow, to create a new life. So everything in semen is everything that is needed to create a new life. To create something, you cannot create something from nothing. You have to have the building blocks to create something. So every time you jerk off, you are expending all of your vital energy, your life-building energy. You are giving a part of yourself away. A real part of yourself. Sperm doesn't come from nowhere, dipshit. It comes from your blood, your bone marrow. It's there to build a life. So when you jerk off, you are weakening yourself, innervating yourself, emasculating yourself, giving away your vital energy, your life-building energy. You're giving it away for some free pornos the Jews gave you. Whoops. Not a smart thing to do, is it? You know, there was a time in 2002, I believe it was, when the Israelis invaded a Palestinian city. They took over their television station. They installed a curfew They could not leave their houses. The Palestinians were under Israeli attack. They were under Israeli martial law. They could not leave their house. The Israelis took over the television stations. And what do you think they played on the televisions of the Palestinian city they just took over? That's right, they played nonstop porno. The Israeli army came in to this Palestinian town, took over their television station. The army played pornos nonstop on their TVs, and they instilled a curfew so they could not leave their house. So if they wanted any news about the situation, they had to turn on their television. Well, guess what? All of their televisions had pornos on them. Porno is a tool of warfare. It is a tool of war to weaken your enemy. And that's what happens when you jerk off. You weaken yourself. You happily weaken yourself. You mentally weaken yourself and you physically weaken yourself when you jerk off. But when you don't jerk off, when you keep this vital energy, you strengthen yourself. You become stronger. You become better. You become more driven. You become more of a man. When you jerk off to pornos, you emasculate yourself. And we can blame it on them all we want for giving us free porno. But it's you who are sitting there jerking off to the free porno. All you got to do is not do it. Let your vital energy build up. And what are you going to use that energy for? One of two things. Use that energy to drive you to start a business, make a lot of money, be a good bodybuilder, whatever the case may be. Or use that energy to impregnate a female and bring life into this world. That's what the energy is for in the first place. It's the energy of creation. And when you sit in your room jerking off to pornos, you give away your ability to create something. So use it for that. Don't jerk off. Let it strengthen you and invigorate you. It will be difficult at first because you're addicted to porno. You're addicted to self-pleasure. Like a fool. Stop being addicted to it. The addiction is all psychological. The addiction is all mental. And it's there because they played a game of mental warfare on you and helped you to easily become addicted to it by giving you free pornos. Non-stop free porno. Just say no to porn. Stop watching it. Stop jerking off. When you want to get your rocks off, go find a female and fuck her like you should have done already. You should never, never, never sit alone and jerk off and release your vital energy. That's not what it's for. It's pathetic. It weakens you. Find a broad, fuck her brains out. Or save up the energy and build your business so that you can have an income or a piece of land or a business that brings you money so that you can develop a family later. Whatever the case may be, don't jerk off. Giles asks, Victor, have you seen Idiocracy and do you think that this is the way the West is headed? Yes, I've seen Idiocracy, but no, I don't think it's the way the West is headed. It's the way that the West is already here. And we've covered that by talking about 1984. It's already here. In Idiocracy, that's the movie where the guy falls asleep in a time machine and wakes up 1,000 years in the future and everybody's an idiot. Guess what? We're here already. We're here already. We are in Idiocracy. There are two levels of education in the United States. There's private education and public education. If you got a private education, you got a real education. If you got a public education, you got a dumbing down. That's why there are so many stupid people in America. They went to a public school. Public school exists to make you into an idiot consumer. So Idiocracy, it's already here. That's why the movie is so funny, because we can relate to it because we're here already. We've been here for a long time. Idiocracy was not a movie about the future. It was a movie about right now. 1984 was not a book about the future. It was a book about 1948. It was already then, here and now. When I was in America, I couldn't help but think every time I walked into my gym, it was like walking into Idiocracy. There's a scene in Idiocracy where the guy walks into Costco. And if you're not American, Costco is a big supermarket, a big store. And when he walked into the store, the greeter at the front of the store said, "Welcome to Costco. I love you. Welcome to Costco. I love you. Welcome to Costco. I love you." And every time when I was in North Texas, every time I would walk into the gym, here's what they would say to me at LA Fitness. "Welcome to LA Fitness. How are you? Welcome to LA Fitness. How are you? Welcome to LA Fitness. How are you?" So, Idiocracy is not the future. Idiocracy is right now. Anthony asks, how did you overcome your desire to have kids? I think about it every day, all day. I'm 28 years old and I live in Canada. None of the women are worthy to be called mothers here. Okay, great question, Anthony. I never overcame my desire to have kids. Actually, in previous years, I never wanted to have children because I believed the lies of the powers that be who said, don't have children. The world is too overpopulated. Don't have children. Always use protection, always have an abortion, always never have children is the point. You don't make enough money to have children. Oh, it's only ignorant people bring children into the world. Meanwhile, the people who make no money have got 10 kids, and the people who make all the money have no kids. All the smartest people have no children. All the dumbest people are having more and more children. The world is getting dumber, verifiably getting dumber, because only the stupid people don't listen. That's the funny thing about the propaganda. It only works on the smart people. The smartest people are the ones who are most hurt by listening to the government lies. They're the ones who are not having children. Tell you what, friends, wealth is not money. Wealth is not gold or silver or precious metals. Wealth is not diamonds. Wealth is not real estate. You know what wealth is? Your children. That is the real wealth. There is no sunshine in this world without children. And they've convinced us to live in a world with no sunshine. I was fully convinced to not have children. I was a casualty in this war. And that's why I'm so passionate about bringing you the message that you should not listen to them. Your wealth is your children. Your happiness is your children. Now, the unfortunate thing is the women have become garbage. They've become defeminized, while the men have also become emasculated. So we're in a terrible situation. We should have children, but the women are no good. So we're in a very terrible situation. What we're going to have to do is simply try to re-educate our women. That's the only thing we can do. Try to re-educate our women. Try to show them the right way from the wrong way. 100% of Western females have bought into the propaganda. They've bought into the lies. But 75% of them are on pills because they're not happy. So they know something is wrong. They're dumb, but they're not that dumb. They can see that under this, there's something not quite right about what they've been sold and what they've been told. And every female knows that she wants to be a mother. Deep down in her bones, she was born to be a mother just like men are born to be fathers. That is the purpose of life, bringing more life into this world. That is the purpose of life. They have robbed us of our purpose. They have robbed us of the purpose of life. It is to bring life into this world. It's not about making money. It's not about consuming. It's not about getting a good job. That's a bunch of bullshit. It's about bringing life into this world. Children are sunshine. And a world without children is a world without sunshine. I noticed that when I went to the States. There were no children in the United States. No children. Where the fuck are the children? They're not there. There were no children in North Texas. There were no children in California. There were no children in New Mexico. Where the fuck are the children? Tell you something. Go to Vietnam. Go to Thailand. It's crazy the difference. There are children running around everywhere and everybody's so happy and smiling. Children just run around playing all day long. It's not until you leave the United States and go somewhere like that you realize what the fuck is happening. Where are the children? There are no children. Why is this place so depressed? Easy answer. There are no children. There's no sunshine without children. And there are no children, therefore there is no sunshine. Where are the children? They're everywhere in Southeast Asia. That's why you feel so different. You feel alive in Southeast Asia and you feel dead in America. There is no sunshine without children. There is no sunshine without children. Now, unfortunately, again, America is the worst place to have children just because of the government. Again, we go back to the real problem, which is the governments. Not the people, it's the governments. The governments create the problem. They put it in your wife's head that she should get divorced. And they put it in her head, they incentivize her by giving her all of your money in a divorce. So we're getting fucked on a number of levels. That's why we have to return to a more natural state. We have to stop listening to the virtual reality. We have to start building our own communities. That's it. We have to take back what is ours. We have to take back our life. We've given every goddamn thing we have to the government. Everything we have. Here, take away more of my freedoms, government. Just protect me from the Muslim terrorists who don't exist. Protect me from the white supremacists who don't exist. Protect me from the KKK that doesn't exist. Black guys listening to this show. Black guys listening to the B&D podcast. Ask yourself, how many KKK members have you met in your life? Zero. They got you scared of the KKK. Listen, they took your family away. Before they took the white family away, they took away the black family. They took your women away first. White men, you can expect your women to act like black women in the very near future. Fuck it, they're acting like it right now. Right now. They took away the black family first. Now they're taking away the white family. And they're bringing all these Muslims in. Guess what, Muslims? They're going to take away your families too. Asians, they're going to take away your families too. If you don't fucking wake up, you're going to be in the same position the blacks are today, without a family. Do you know why blacks end up in prison? Because they don't have fathers in the house. That's why they end up in prison. They're not bigger criminals than all other people. They were raised by the government and they don't have fathers. Their father was the government. Guess where that puts you? In prison. That's where you end up when you are raised by the state. When your mother kicks away the real father and lets the government pay her. Where you end up? You end up in prison. You end up in jail. You end up shot. You end up dead. Just don't listen to them. All the black guys I know who have fathers in their life, they're doing well. They're smart. They're educated. They make good money. They're not criminals. All the black guys I know like that. Good people. Good, strong people with good, strong values. But they hate black women for a good reason. The government poisoned the minds of the black women just like it poisoned the minds of the white women. Well, sorry to say, you've got to rebuild. Black people, you got to rebuild. White people, you got to rebuild. We have to rebuild. Have to. Stop having abortions. Stop taking money from the government. Take nothing from the government. The only people who care about you are people who look like you. The only people who care about you are your family. Anybody else who pretends to care about you is committing war on your mind. When they give you free government money, they're committing war on you. Psychological war. They're torturing you, committing atrocity on you. Tell me, is the state of the black American in a real great place since they started giving them welfare? No. It broke up the family, made them rely on the state, made them distrust everybody in their own family and rely only on the state. Whoops, that makes you end up in prison with nobody to rely on. No fathers. Laszlo asks, "Hi Vic, noticing that the animal products only diet gives me so much restless energy that even after I transmute into the gym or business, I still have a crazy sex drive. The zinc, crazy drive just to screw everything in sight. Horrible, cannot seem to transcend lust." He asks, "Are you still on the no masturbation, no sex train? And if so, how are you staying so calm/composed? By the way, I am 21, but avoid the college slut scene to shield myself from false accusations. STDs like HPV and chlamydia are now in over 1/4 of straight sexually active girls, more for other STDs. Our society is disgusting." I agree with you. Our society is disgusting because when you take away the natural result of sex, which is a baby, which is creating life, which is children, when you take that away, people just fuck like animals. And even animals don't fuck like this. Animals fuck on a schedule. They fuck in mating season to bring life into this world. They don't fuck indiscriminately. Only retarded humans who take away the possibility of having children because they're on birth control, they use condoms, or they are sodomites. When you take away the result of the sex, of making love, of making life, people just fuck like rabbits. They fuck like just not even animals, worse than animals. And of course, this makes them develop diseases. Though, I'm not even sure I believe that anymore. I don't believe anything that comes from the mouth of the government. So if the government say STDs are rising, I would say that they're falling. You know why I think they're falling? Because even though for a long time people were fucking indiscriminately and randomly, and a lot of them still are because of apps like Tinder, a lot of people are not fucking as well. A lot of people are not. A lot of people see this degenerate way of life for what it is, and they don't want a part of it. So I'm not sure that I believe those numbers about STDs. I'm not saying they're not true, and I'm not saying they are true. False accusations, this is a tough one because we see this in the news all the time. But do we really see it in reality? I'm not saying this doesn't happen either, because I believe it does happen a lot, but we always see it on the news. We see it on the news. The same people that create the news are the same people who are creating war on your mind. So when they put this in the news, they're implanting this thought in your mind to falsely accuse men. Everybody knows these accusations are fake. Everybody knows that. Nobody believes these accusations are real. But the TV says that they're real, so therefore people start to believe that 2 + 2 = 5. Okay, here's another question. How do you transcend lust? It's all in the mind, and it's all been implanted in your mind. The lust has been implanted in your mind by the free porno. Just stop watching the porno. Stop watching the porno. You have the crazy lust in your mind because of porno, because of everything we've been talking about, because it's been psychologically implanted in your mind. Just forget about it. Look at women as people instead of objects in a porno. That's what they are. They're people just like you and I. They're just people. And also, try to find yourself a good one and just fuck her brains out. Don't fuck anybody else. That's really the way to get over it, to transcend it. RH asks, why does a woman read or listen to B&D? As a traditional man, I hate reading women's magazines or going to places where women frequent. I avoid joining conversations between women as it makes me feel uncomfortable and stupid. But it seems to me that women today love to do what men do and don't think there's anything wrong with joining a men's conversation. Do you think that allowing women to enter the men's world is what makes them less feminine? Besides, what'll happen when more and more female listeners join the conversations and chime in their thoughts on B&D, the last existing gentleman's club on the internet? Okay, in a natural society, there is no mingling between women don't mingle in the men's part and men don't mingle in the women's part. It's all totally fake. It's all totally fake, brought to you by the people we've been talking about for 36 episodes. The same people create this warfare, put it in the minds of the women that they need to go and be just like men. Well, that defeminizes women and it emasculates men. So, of course, as a man, you don't want to read a women's magazine or go to a place where women frequent. Who wants to hear women talk? They sound like idiots when they talk. Who wants to hear that? Nobody. I certainly don't. And I don't want them in my space either. I don't want them in my club. I don't want to see them. If I want to go out and have a conversation with men, I don't want women to be there. No man does. No man does. People don't want that. People don't really want that in reality. You've been sold that on television, so you believe that people want to be integrated. They don't. Women want their own spaces. Men want their own spaces. It's only because these idiots have been sold this by the televisions, by the news, that they start to bring it into their real life. That's the problem. All of this stuff starts in the virtual reality. It starts in the media. And then it affects their mind because it is mental warfare. And they start to act like they see on the television. That's why women today are so awful, so terrible, so disgusting. Because they allow this virtual reality to influence them. And they bring it over into the real world. And listen, for everything I said about we need to start communicating with each other. We need to get back to the way we are in nature. It's difficult because women are awful in the West. They're awful. But some of them are starting to wake up. Some of them are realizing, hey, I don't want to be used like a worthless slut on birth control, getting a useless college degree and going in debt to get it, and then go working a slave job. I would rather have my husband work the job and make the money so that I can take care of the house and the children the way that it would be done in a natural way. So women are starting to wake up. They're not joining this club to be like men. The women I answer questions for ask female questions like, how do I find a good husband? What should I eat when I'm pregnant? I'm happy to answer those kinds of questions. If a woman came here and was like, how do I kick ass like a man? Rah! I'll tell that bitch to fuck off. Right to her face, bitch, fuck off. Ain't got time for you. But if the ladies have questions about pregnancy, how to get pregnant, how to find the right man, how to any type of thing like that, they're not going to get those answers anywhere. Anywhere else, they're not going to get them. You can't go ask a woman for advice in this society. She'll give you dog shit advice. Who else speaks the truth? How many men do you know speak the truth with no filter? How many men do you know like me speak the truth? A couple? 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe? That's why a few of them come here. They want to get the truth. Andreas asks, hey Victor, despite all the negative aspects of America, why do you think almost all of the world's most capable people are American? Regardless whether you like them or not, the best musicians, singers, entrepreneurs, writers, basketball players, and so on are or have been American. That's a great question. I don't quite agree with the premise that all of the most capable people are American. We have the best propaganda. In America, we have the most incredible propaganda system in the history of the world. There's a reason for that. We've got all the original people who came to America, but then after the wars, after World War II in particular, what happened to all of we heard about the great propaganda powers of the Nazis in Nazi Germany. Remember that? We heard about, they had such great propaganda. Well, where did those people end up after the war? Where did the Nazis go after the war? That's right. All of the fascist Nazis after the war, the ones who were experts at propaganda, they came here to America. Where did the Russians in air quotes, where did the Russians go after the fall of the Soviet Union? Where did those Russians go when the anti-Semitic campaigns were happening? Put that in air quotes. Where did they go? They came to America. So we got the best propagandists in the world in America. We don't have the most capable. We have the best propagandists in the world. 100% the greatest propaganda system the world has ever seen. And because of that, everybody in the world thinks, America must be the place. America's the place where I can make my dreams come true. I got to go to America. All the greatest people go to America. There's no magic dirt. It's not the land that makes people smart. It's the genetics. Where do American people come from? Most Americans are from England and Germany. We can't say that the English and the Germans are incapable. They're highly capable. That's why all the wars basically of the past, couple hundred years have been basically the English fighting the Germans. The two biggest superpowers in the world basically were the English and the Germans. And that's what Americans are. English and German, a little bit of Irish, and a little bit of other European, but that's mostly what the Americans are. So we've got the good genes. We've got the good genetics. We've got the good That's it. We got the good genetics. And when it comes to musicians, singers, entrepreneurs, writers, basketball players, we've got the best advertising to advertise these people. They're great entrepreneurs in other countries, great singers in other countries, great musicians in other countries. We have the advertising in place. And advertising is just another word for propaganda. It's the same thing. The advertising industry, the media industry, it's the same thing as the propaganda industry. So when they talk about the propaganda in Nazi Germany, it's the same thing we have today. It's the exact same thing. So we don't have the most capable people of the world. We have the best advertising in the world. Drew asks, in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill tells the story of how America was founded. Even though the founding fathers were outnumbered by the British, they battled them with tremendous courage and earned their freedom. The bottom line is that this country only exists because they refused to be the slaves of the British. My question is this: how has our once great country been completely taken over by the evil-minded? America was created so that people can be completely free. Nearly all people in the West are brainwashed by propaganda and are under complete mind control. Everything to do with this country is the complete opposite of its true values. Why and how has this happened? All of our rights have been taken away. Man is slowly losing the right to bear arms in order to protect himself and hunt. He is losing the right to speak his mind regarding social issues. The government is bringing in people that do not belong here. You have said in recent podcasts that we should be true to our own. This is now impossible because the values of this country are so upside down. That's a good, strong question, and it's at the heart of everything we've been discussing in the entire series of the Bold and Determined podcast. Just what in the fuck happened? How did we go from what we once were to what we are today? Sniveling race of emasculated cowards and defeminized cunts. Again, it's propaganda. We have the strongest propaganda in the world. Like we talked about in the beginning of the episode, they show us fake stuff on television. This fake stuff on television influences us so that we believe that 2 + 2 = 5. The short answer is that everything we see on television is a fake, but we believe it's real. We are a trusting society. We are a trusting society. We're a high trust society. We're not a low trust people. We're a high trust people. So unfortunately, we believe these people. The intelligence agencies, the governments, the foreign influences, the industrialists, the trillionaires, the bankers, they're here to make money at our expense. They're here to enslave us. And they own all of the media. They own Hollywood. They own every magazine. They own every newspaper. They own basically everything. All the media that we consume, they own it. And that's how they did it. By taking over the media. That's exactly how they did it. Through the power of the media. Every Hollywood movie you've ever seen is propaganda. Every television show you've ever seen is propaganda. That's how they did it. And American culture is highly centered around the television. When you talk about memories, when you get together with another American, you talk about memories. What do you talk about? You talk about, hey, do you remember this commercial? Do you remember that commercial? Hey, do you remember when Bart Simpson did this? Hey, do you remember when Rachel on Friends did that? It's all about the television in America. That's how they did it. That's how they took it all over through the television, through the actors on television. And I mean all of the actors on television, like your president, who recently starred in that hit television show, The Apprentice. Bob asks, the European population is falling below fertility. Do you see it recovering or are we doomed? Ooh, good strong question. We are not doomed. I don't really see it recovering. Europe is overpopulated as it is. There are quite a bit of people there. We need to have a smaller population, I believe. So even though the population is below fertility, there's still going to be European people. Europe is always going to be European. Their plan to mongrelize Europe is going to fail because people are waking up. You and I are waking up. We realize what's happening. We realize why they are flooding our countries with third world people. We've talked about it ad nauseum. So it's not going to happen. People are starting to wake up and people are starting to realize children are our future. And without children, we don't have a future. There is no future for white people without children. We're starting to realize that. People are starting to wake up and they're starting to have children. And if they don't, then fuck them. Blanc Neige asks, hey Uncle Vic, last podcast you talked about the Slavs as of the Germanic and Celts. What is your opinion on Latin nations like Portugal, Spain, Italy, and France? And also people ask me about Poland and Greece. So about Spain, Italy, Portugal, and France, they all are their own nations. So they're white people, yes, but they're not white people like we think of, like Americans or Canadians or maybe even Australians. They have their own culture. The French have their own strong culture. The Italians have their own strong culture. The Spanish have their own strong culture. The Portuguese have their own strong culture. So I like all those people. I respect those people. And I watched a video in France about the burning of Notre Dame, and I watched these French citizens outside of the burning of the building, and they were singing this beautiful song, this song that you could never hear in America, this beautiful operatic song. It was so gorgeous, it almost made me cry hearing them sing outside of the burning of their building. And the burning of Notre Dame, it's not just an attack on Christianity, it's an attack on the very heart and soul of the French people. It's an attack on the very heart and soul of the European people. And they were outside singing this beautiful song, all of them. And it made me realize how fucking stupid Americans are, because you would never be able to hear that kind of song in America. The French are much more cultured than America. That's what they have. They have a better education. They have a better appreciation of the finer things in life. In America, we've been dumbed down by Doritos and commercials and high fructose corn syrup and all that stuff. So they're more culture. They're more cultured in those nations. They're more cultured in Spain, Italy, and France than we are here in the West. And I respect that, and I hope that they continue that for many more centuries. Regarding the Polish and the Greece, they also have their strong culture. I respect that as well. I hope they stay that way. Alexander asks, hey, Mr. Pride, there's a growing trend of people advocating a farming life, growing food, animal husbandry, and self-sufficiency. Their motivations seem to stem from a desire to escape a corrupted and decaying civilization. Historically, this is the worst thing you could do. Whether it is the Soviet Union, Cambodia, Cuba, Ukraine, South Africa, Rhodesia, Ireland, and many others, the landowning farmers are the first to be literally and figuratively raped. Owning land and producing food in these examples saved people from nothing. In fact, it brought them untold suffering. Is buying land and becoming a food producer the correct thing to do if your motivations are to escape a corrupt and degenerate government? That's a good, strong question, and I've struggled with this question myself a number of times because I have seen this in my research where they come to the farmers first, they kill the animals, they burn the crops, steal the land, whatever. This seems to happen over and over. However, that being said, I still think it's the best thing to do. I still do. In spite of all this, we've got to get back to self-sustainability. We've got to get back to living a more natural life. We can't rely on their GMO foods anymore. We can't rely on their high fructose corn syrup. We can't rely on their soy-fed, corn-fed beef. We've got to take back our communities. And the best way, the number one way that you take back your health, your community, is by producing your own food. So even though in the event of a war, yeah, they might come and kill your livestock, burn your fields. They might not. They might not. I still think it's probably the best and maybe even the only way that we start to have a semblance of a return to a natural lifestyle. And the Amish, for example, the Amish have it right. The Amish farms have not been burned in hundreds of years. The Amish have not been raped and pillaged in hundreds of years. So we don't have to necessarily think that it's going to happen to us, but we do have to think self-sustainability, self-accountability, self-responsibility. No reliance on the government at all. Just opt out of the system as much as you can. Grow your own food as much as you can. This is what I'm working towards myself. I realize I'm a hypocrite. I don't have children. I don't live on a farm. That I'm a traveling salesman, basically. Traveling blog artist. I realize that. It might make me a hypocrite. It doesn't make me wrong. Leo Sinclair asks, should Americans get a second passport for tax reasons? Okay. Good, strong question. And I think that yes, Americans should try to get a second passport, not for tax reasons, but for reasons of, for example, if you were in Russia in the early 20th century and they were killing Russians by the tens of millions and starving them to death, it'd be good if you could leave and go somewhere else. If you were in China during the Great Leap Forward when they starved millions of their own people, it'd be great if you could go somewhere else. In Ukraine, when they starved millions of people, it'd be great if you could go somewhere else. And if you only rely on your government's passport, that means they control where you can go and where you cannot go. So in the event of something like that happening, which is it's hard to say that's going to happen in America because America is so big and so spread out. But then again, Russia's gigantic as well. So we don't really know what's going to happen. It's always great to have a backup plan. You don't need a second passport for tax reasons because that's going to do jack shit for you for your taxes. It's a plan B in the event that you need to escape them trying to come and kill you. So it's a very good idea to try and get yourself a second passport. Adriano asks, how many centuries of history have been scripted? Are there fictitious characters in history? Is the official chronology of history actually adulterated? Okay, some history is real. A lot of history is fake. Like I said, that what we see on television, that's all actors. It's all actors. So everything we've seen on television for the past 100 years, everything we've seen in the news, it's all been scripted. It's all been fake. History is written by the victors. History is written by the people who show you your television. History is written by the people who write your history books. So much of history has been faked. And in fact, when you realize what has been faked, you realize that nothing we've been told is true. Everything you've been told about World War II, not true. What you've been told about the Russian Revolution, not true. The Russian Revolution was a psychological and physical war on the Russian people. World War II, the Holocaust, was a war against the Germans. It wasn't a war against the Jews. It was a war against the Germans, and it's still going on. They hate the Germans. They hate the Germans with a passion. They want to destroy the Germans. That's why they're currently flooding their countries with Muslim immigrants. They want to destroy the Germans. They always have wanted to destroy the Germans, and they created this character, this actor, by the name of Adolf Hitler, to go in and play this part. While behind the scenes, the real powers that be raped the country and are continuing to rape Germany to this very day. Darnay asks, "Hi Victor, what is the maximum amount of time you have fasted? Do you recommend long fasts such as for 30 days or would this lead to too much muscle breakdown?" Great question. The longest I have fasted with no food is 48 hours. I've done that a bunch of times. The longest I have fasted with no food and no water is 24 hours. I've done that twice. And I went on a juice fast where I had nothing but vegetable juice for 5 days. Let's start with the vegetable juice fast. That was terrible. It was awful. I would recommend nobody do a juice fast. It was one of the worst things I've ever done in my life. For all 5 days of the juice fast, I was in a terrible foul mood. I couldn't stop thinking about food at all times. I got skinny fat is what happened. And nothing got better. Everything got worse. So vegetables are garbage. Vegetable juice is garbage. A juice fast is absolute garbage. However, doing a series of 48-hour fasts with no food and just water was one of the best things I have ever done for my health. One of the absolute very best things I've ever done for my health. And I'll tell you why fasting for 48 hours is so good. For me, here's why. It makes my body feel good because it eats away the inflammation. I get inflammation in the body when I eat too frequently. Even if I eat just meat, even if I eat raw meat, I still get inflammation in the body. And the only thing I have found that kills the inflammation, that eats the inflammation, is periodic fasting. And I'll tell you the best thing I ever did for my health was fasting for 48 hours 3 times in a single week. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I just didn't eat anything. And that was the best thing that I've ever done for my health, bar none. And I just finished a 48-hour fast yesterday. And I feel great today. My body feels so much better. Every time I do these 48-hour fasts, my body feels so much better. And in fact, it's not even hard to do. On the second day, I don't even get hungry. I just eat because I think, I guess I should eat now. So I think next time I might go for a 72-hour fast and see what happens. But I feel great on 48-hour fasts spread throughout the week or even just sporadically here and there. I feel great when I do them. So I highly recommend them. Unless you're a big fat pig, you don't need to fast for 30 days. If you're a big fat pig, you can fast for 30 days. You'll lose all your pig weight. You'll get back to normal. You'll normalize. You'll feel a lot better. And if you're a big fat pig, there's no reason to be eating all the time. If you're a big fat pig, the only way to lose weight is to stop eating. So if you're a big fatso, you can fast for 30 days with no issues. Make sure you drink a concoction of salt water or snake juice. You want your electrolytes in your system. And when we talk about electrolytes, what we mean is sodium, potassium, and magnesium. And a mix of these 3 in your water will help you feel great and will make the fast very easy to do. So just look up the recipe for snake juice. You can make this at home. It's very cheap. Doesn't cost much. Just go to your local market, pick up some stuff, and you can make it on your own. And I notice personally when I do a 24-hour dry fast, which is a fast with no food and no water, when I do that for 24 hours, I notice that at night, my heart starts beating boom, 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 boom. And the only way that I can fix it is if I drink some water with some potassium in it. So that leads me to the obvious conclusion. It is a electrolyte deficiency that happens. So I recommend that you drink some snake juice when you fast. I feel all right when I do a dry fast, but I don't like the feeling of my heart going boom, 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 boom in my chest when I'm trying to sleep. But I fix it quite easily just by drinking some water with some potassium. And if you want potassium, if you're in America and you want potassium, go to the local supermarket, go to the salt aisle and buy something called no salt. And in no salt is potassium. Dump just a little bit of that in your water and you will be good to go. Bill asks, Does drinking raw milk and honey ruin the cognitive benefits of the zero-carb carnivore diet? If I add them in, will it result in blood sugar crashes, etc.? Also, would I have to start again with fat adaptation and sugar withdrawals? I'll tell you what, for pure cognitive clarity, I have to be zero carb, or I can also get the same amount of clarity if I fast for a little while. When I personally add in raw milk and honey, my mental clarity begins to diminish, for sure. It's better with milk and no honey. Honey for sure kills my cognitive clarity. In fact, when I drink honey and milk, I've got to fall asleep. It makes me fall asleep. So I would definitely skip the honey if you're trying to have great mental clarity. I can have strong clarity with raw milk. I cannot be as good as I am on a zero-carb carnivore diet. The zero-carb carnivore diet is the utmost in mental clarity. Nothing can compare. I can tolerate milk. I can do fine on milk, but I'm definitely not as mentally clear as I am on the zero-carb. So try it out and see for yourself what happens. Bill asks, "Hi Victor, would you be willing to share a bit about the jobs you had before you began your journey as an entrepreneur and perhaps how those jobs led you towards being your own boss?" Ooh, that's a great question. I've got a lot to say about that. What do you say we go over that in the next episode of the Bold and Determined podcast? I'll talk about my pre-B&D life and all the jobs I had, and that you have power. You have more power than you possibly know. And until next time, my friendly friends, have a nice day.